Welcome back to the channel. I am back with another banger. Some olive Waffle SP V2s. It's a model that I've had my eye on for a little while. The Waffle SP is a new model that's been released, I would say, in the last year or so. It started with a scream green pair, really loud kind of pairs that were more in line with maybe kind of the 80s, because the Waffle is 80s based trainer. It's one of the original trainers that launched Nike, I would say, in terms of that waffle grip. That famous story of the Nike originators who got his wife's waffle in order to make a grip for runners. So it harkens back to really the history of Nike as a brand. And I think by kind of meshing it and combining it with tuned air, it makes for a really interesting hybrid trainer. So it links back to that original heritage design of Nike, but then it also partners it up with more modern design with a 90s TN. And that's kind of the meshing of the old with the new is something that I really like, especially since this kind of waffle design was a little bit before my time, but this was more kind of my era growing up, the TN kind of era. So yeah, I've been really interested in this model, but the pairs that have all released so far have been, I think, pretty loud. Like Scream Green has been a purple pair, a blue pair, an all black pair. It wasn't until I saw sort of orangey star sail color come up that I was keen enough to kind of pull the trigger. So there was an orange pair that's been released, it's still floating around now. Then this kind of cream off-white pair was released and I thought that's even better than the orange pair. And then when I saw this pair released, I was like, this is the one. So every pair that's released I've kind of gone, this is better than the one before. And in doing my research, it feels like there are lots of pairs that are region specific. There have been some US pairs that I've not seen released over here, and sort of vice versa. So I got this pair in hand to get a sense of what these are like. So let's talk about the trainer itself. So I think these are £135 retail, which is kind of mid-range, I would say. Not as expensive as Jordans, but not as cheap as some of the more basic runners. It's in line with the price actually for these AirTech Challenge 2s. And I don't know really how to compare them. I would say that they're both kind of what I would expect for that price, and both kind of, I would say, value for money. I think it is worth saying that most of these pairs so far have gone into sale. So this isn't a pair that I would pay full price for, because all the other pairs before have been reduced from about £130, which I think is retail, to about £80 or so. So as much as I like them, I know that these will go into sale. So I'm gonna be as sort of wily as I can be in terms of saving money. But yeah, I think the retail price is reasonable. Materials won't blow you away, but let me talk through them a little bit. So you've got what I would say is kind of a cheap leather on the Nike section at the back here. You have an okay leather on the Nike swoosh. In fact, it seems pretty decent to me, leather on the swoosh. Then you have this sort of hairy, quite thick suede around the toe box, around the eye stays and on the rear panels. And then you have a new buckle of suede, which is really nice on the back in olive. So the materials I would say are decent. You do have this kind of mesh material around the toe box, and that for me can be a bit of a red flag because it's not very durable, but I prefer it to like the nylon. I've got my Sakai's here, which are another kind of waffle pair and a nod to the old school. And to be fair, these are reinforced in leather, so these have been quite durable. I don't wear them that much. But this has also kind of got this nylon, but underneath you have this meshing, which I think is interesting and I think would make it durable. I would like to know from maybe viewers who have pairs of these whether they are sort of long lasting, because I don't want to buy pairs of trainers where my toes are poking out, but these look pretty good. And I think they've done a reasonable job for the price point, so no complaints there really. You have this tuned air section at the back, and I've never had a pair of tuned air. I've never been into TNs. It wasn't a trainer that I really got into, even though when they were released, I was working in the trainer shop, I was working in JD Sports. But yeah, this would be my first pair of TNs, so I don't know how comfortable they are. I imagine they're in line with other Air Max. I know loads of people who swear by TNs. So yeah, it's nice to see the TN at the back with the old school in the front, and I've tried them on and they're really comfortable. And I think some hybrids can look ridiculous, but I think this pair really works. I think they've had a pretty good launch. I think from the offset, people were interested in them. I really like design. I think it's quite bold and it's quite shrewd really, because you're pleasing old school Nike fans like me, but you're also pleasing, you know, the more modern Nike fans who are into kind of the more modern technology. It's kind of bridging two eras of Nike trainers. So on the one hand, it's quite safe because it's going to appeal to such a wide demographic, but on the other hand, it is quite bold to make a hybrid like this, and I think they've done a really good job. I like the way the outsole comes to the front, comes here, and this pair here is gum. I don't think all the pairs that have been released have a gum outsole, but everyone loves a gum outsole, so definitely onto a winner. I think the colourway is really good. I don't think you can go wrong with this kind of olive colourway. It's sort of interesting but safe as well. I do like a bit of green, as you can see with this top. I don't wear it that much, but I just think with the black as well, these would be really wearable and will go with lots of stuff. I think this white pair here are less wearable, and I think probably because I got the SB95s, I'd rather keep them than those white ones. But that orange pair has definitely intrigued me, so I am up for seeing what they're like in hand as well. In terms of sizing, I would stay true to size. These are quite roomy. Possibly you could go down a half a size, but that's not something I'm interested at all. I'm not into any kind of snug fit. I want my feet to be comfortable, and these fit true to size. I got these in the UK 11, and that's what I would recommend for you, definitely. So I think materials are nice. I think the price is okay. I think they're one of Nike's nicer silhouettes that have been released this year. There have been some interesting releases. I'm quite interested in that Rover silhouette as well. Yeah, I think this pair's a winner, and I would definitely recommend it if you haven't ever bought a pair of these. So I think what I'll do is I will probably rebuy these when they go into sale, because I'm pretty confident they will go into sale, and I hate having paid full price when the trainer's just going to go into sale. I did that with the Lunar Roams, paid £135 and then they were going for £60. So, and I regretted it, but I won't make that mistake with this pair. So I definitely recommend them. Get them in hand to get a sense of what they're like for yourself. But yeah, definitely I think Nike have done a good job with these, and I would recommend them. Let me know your thoughts and feelings. Which colourway do you prefer, the white pair or the olive pair? I've just been banging out reviews, so if you haven't already, I've got a review of these Nike SB95s. They're fantastic and I'm so happy with them. So if you haven't, checked that video out. And I've also just gotten the Pixel Air Tech Challenge 2s as well. So if you haven't checked that video out, please do it. At this point, it's worth reminding you, if you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, please give it a like, comment, because I love the interaction. Please share the video with someone you think might like it, and subscribe even better. I appreciate every view, so thanks so much for watching. I will see you on the next one. Peace.